covering the right things. You can engage the person. The one thing I really like about this is the water cooler conversations, right? You can't have that today in telepresence. You can't have that in voice conferencing unless you want to really kind of take a chance there. But you can be in an environment before a meeting, hang out after the meeting. You can have a chat. If you have a permanent environment that you've set up for your team, you can meet there periodically, meet with customers, and you can have conversations. In the Lenovo e-lounge, it's amazing who you run into. You can just have a chat about something, nothing to do with PCs or Lenovo selling, but some pretty interesting discussions that can take place. The other item here is about the 3D data. So if you can imagine, you are discussing a problem on a manufacturing floor. You have got a piece of product that just is not working properly. You can take your team that you're meeting with, say it's 10 people around the world, you can take them into the manufacturing floor, you can point to the product, you can show what it's doing, and you can say, this is what's not working. And you can actually have a discussion and say, can we blow out that product? Can we blow out that piece of machinery? And let's actually take a look at it. Now, it's very sophisticated use of 3D modeling, but it is doable. You can integrate CAD applications into this environment where you can actually manipulate products, you can manipulate the data objects that you're trying to look at. Security, well, they're in your network. Okay, so that's the first level of security. You're not going outside of your network into Second Life or into another virtual world. This is within your environment, so your users are authenticated, unless you make this open for suppliers, for customers such as the Lenovo e-lounge. You can also log your conversations. You can do that today on most video audio equipment. It's difficult. You've got to remember, okay, who is that speaking? Now, there is becoming to have intelligence in some of the voice conferencing that it can actually, your voice activates and it can record your name and your number if you need to do those type of recordings for compliance within your companies. Software integration. This is a huge one in that because this is in your network, this is behind the firewall. You're having a virtual conversation. And it's like, man, I really wanted to share this piece of information. You can go over to your desktop, you can pull in a document, and then have that discussion around that. If it's not on your desktop, but in your company's file server, go to the file server, bring it in for the discussion. You can't do that if you had to leave your firewall and go to an outside environment. So again, you have access to the information, both what you have on your own laptop, desktop, as well as what's in the company structure. The audio, as I had talked about earlier, the spatial audio, it's pretty interesting in that it's as if we're having a conversation here. You can control who has what access to be able to throw voice, to talk to an entire group versus to talk to one person. Have any of you been in Second Life? Okay, so you see where the sound, when you get into a room, it gets really crowded, it gets really loud and stuff. So we've had a couple of general information sessions where we've had some of the executives in our company come and give a talk to 400 or 500 people, and we did it online, and it was pretty cool in that up in the center stage you had whatever person was speaking, and you could hear their voice very clearly. Yet you could talk to the person right beside them at any point, or you could move over there because you saw who was over there, and you could have a conversation, still listening to the overall session. So the spatial audio gives you a lot of capabilities that does not exist today in things such as Second Life. And we have that technology in this application through an acquisition we made of a company called Diamondware. So Diamondware actually has the IPR for that technology. E-commerce. So the next market segment I'm going to cover is about commerce. How many of you today do online shopping? How many of you have ever abandoned what you're actually buying? Just say, okay, that's enough, I'm tired. 60% of all shopping carts are abandoned. That's a large and very high percent. So if you as a company have invested and created this online store, and you've got 60% of your customers just walking out, not purchasing what they've bought, that's not necessarily a good success factor there. You also have the issue that with blogs, with different user forums, other sites, there's a huge amount of information out there about your product. You have no influence on it. So wouldn't it be nicer to be able to have more influence yourself on the products that you sell to the users that are out there? And I'm going to cover an example of that. As an online shopper, the way that you're going to talk to a salesperson is through the IM chat. And so if you've got a question, you can IM chat and say, okay, can you really explain to me what this means? You sit there and you wait a few more minutes, wait a few more minutes. Okay, you get a response, great. Okay, you type out your question. Okay, person, do you mean this? Now, have you been through that? Have you experienced that? Is that not frustrating? Oh, that's almost like being on a call saying, okay, press 9 is to do this, press 3. I mean, it's just like, come on, it's got to be easy. So being able to do this virtually allows you to actually talk to a salesperson. We'll talk about that a bit more. And it doesn't allow people to talk to one another. So you can talk to a salesperson, but when you're in an online store, you can't talk to another customer who may be looking at the same laptop you're looking at. You really want to ask them, what do you think about this? What have you heard about this? Have you bought this product before? So those are the type of engagements that don't exist today in e-commerce. So, and I think I've covered a lot of these areas, but a lot of this with the e-commerce today, it hasn't fundamentally changed since it began. It's the same way. You look at a 2D photo of a product, sometimes it can rotate, sometimes you get a 360-degree view, which is nice. If you have a question, you have to do the IM chat, or you can actually do a conference call. You click to call, which is kind of nice, and you sit there and you wait, and hopefully you're going to get somebody who can do more than just read the script for you, give you the different pieces of information. So what the virtual environment does, and this is an actual screenshot from the Lenovo e-Lounge. And so you'll see the way the products are displayed. You'll see people in there shopping, and there'll be salespeople there. So when you're in this environment, you can actually go up and talk to people. Salesperson, you can talk to the different shoppers, you can pick up products, you can move them, you can close them, you can open them. I'm going to show you this. This is what we're going to do a walkthrough in a bit. So 4 areas here that I'm going to cover off in terms of e-commerce. Some of the key things about a virtual e-commerce store is that you're able to talk to one another, and you can do it real time. The other huge advantage for companies is it allows a salesperson to come up and talk to 10 people at a time. The IM chat, you swear they're probably talking to 10 people at a time, and you're sitting waiting in a queue to get your response. But this way, a salesperson can actually talk to a group of people at the same time, and you can have a dialogue. You can have an interaction. You can have one person pick it up, well, this is what I meant, and how much does this really weigh? And you can actually have those type of conversations almost as if you were in the store. What the companies can also do is they can do product demonstrations, streaming video. They can host, come join our store at this time, and I'll show you this neat little trick, what you can do with this product. You can imagine like an Apple store. Come in and I'll show you actually how to use your iPhone to do some of this functionality. So you don't have to go online, you don't actually have to go physically visit a store. Security is very similar to what I had said earlier. One of the interesting information here is that as shoppers were there, they've shopped before, the salesperson immediately get all of the information of their previous shopping habits. So that enables your salesperson to be much more effective. So as they go up, how are you? They can address you by name. Great to see you back here. I saw that you were here a few days ago. What did you think of the product? I saw that you bought so-and-so product before. What are your thoughts about it? So you can really engage in a meaningful relationship or a meaningful dialogue that you can't do today even in an online store or going to a physical store. Because going in, you're cold calling, coming into a store, they don't know who you are. Online, your salesperson can know a little bit of information about you. As consumers, you may not like that. But as a business, you're going to love that. The shopping experience, again, as an end user, I think we've covered off most of these. You're able to actually see more products, so it's a more real-life experience. And if you look at branding, very interesting here. So if you really have done a fantastic job branding your product and for your stores, think of Adidas, think of some of your athletic apparel, you can take that exact same store and virtualize it, so when they come online, they walk into your store. So they feel as if they're in your store. That brands you immediately. You can put some scenery outside the windows in your store that you change, maybe for sports, maybe it's a world event that's going on, so you're actually doing a bird's eye view of the world soccer game. So you can blend in different things that are related to the context of what you're trying to sell. You can bring this into to technology stores, Lenovo, and again I'm going to show you some examples.